They're not exactly bad, and if these games played exactly like the original...
God, these fucking chibi models. Oh my god.
They're not exactly bad.
Look at his arms wobbling. I think we're gonna watch YouTube videos for a bit.
Listen, I didn't want to dwell on Sinnoh for too long, but I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have way too much to say on these remakes from both a design perspective and my thoughts as an overall fan of the series. Last video was all about who was making what, and a lot of you guys seem to like that. So stick around to hear what's working and what isn't in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
I already feel clickbaited because the title is Why the Sinnoh Remakes Are So Worrying. And this seems to not be what he actually wants to talk about.
Also want to start off by saying that I'm aware that these games are still super early on and what my thoughts are might not reflect the final product.
Okay, real quick, people bring that point up like a lot. Have we ever seen a trailer for a Pokemon game and then have had the finished product be completely different? I'm genuinely asking here. Yeah, I didn't think so.
From Game Freak's perspective, they have very little reason to remake it outside of giving fans what they want. Which to me is never really a great reason so long as that's the sole reason in the first place.
Man, I wonder what the reason for this publicly listed company is to make this video game.
Nobody liked Sinnoh because the routes were blocky or the lack of fire types or the chibi abstraction of an art style that gave it soul or whatever buzzword you want to use.
Fucking true. Based and Sinnoh-pilled.
No, people liked Sinnoh because of all the shit it brought to the table in terms of lore, character designs, and mechanics. They're not exactly bad, and if these games played exactly like the original...
God, these fucking chibi models. Oh my god.
They're not exactly bad.
Look at his arms wobbling.
One thing a lot of people are going to say is, well, they were never really remaking Platinum, so don't expect the Battlefront here. Hey, shut up. Let me get to that.
True. Also, I think there's a based point coming up here. Yeah, why not remake Platinum? It's just better. There, I summed up the entire next section of the video.
Wanting more things like fire types or improving Cyrus...
Wait, are you serious about this? Is this a serious comment? Unpopular opinion, there should be a tall model's options in the settings. So if that's activated, you have to scale up the doors? What? This is like one of those things where you have like... You know, most people have this, like, I have really stupid ideas sometimes, but usually there's this mechanism in my head where, like, before I make a suggestion, I go through it in my head, and I'm like, hey, what would be the consequences of doing this? You know what I mean? Like, what would happen if you did that? Or why is that not a thing usually? It's commonly called critical thinking, right? And then your brain starts working. You're like, oh, hey, maybe this would happen or this would happen. But I feel like sometimes with Twitch chat, sometimes that mechanism is like not active. And what that instant idea pop-up just like somehow magically gets transfers into your fingers and you just type it out.
Again, I don't hate how this game's turning out, don't get me wrong. What I can say for certain is that I love how they're factoring in Mount Coronet as this looming figure in the background of every battle in Sinnoh.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if we had like an actual like 3D environment where you could like look and see that Mount Coronet is actually in the background of the environment that you're moving in. That would be pretty cool.
Some parts of the overworld design in general are also spot on, like the statue in Eterna City being this mixed interpretation of what the box legends might have looked like to the people of Sinnoh, or how you can see into certain buildings which you couldn't do before. There are a few...
That's crazy, dude. That's so cool. That's definitely... That's definitely not immersion breaking or anything. Because the inside is so much bigger than the outside.
It looking the same as it did in 2007 is not the compliment you think it is. Especially when this is the game about a super serious villain that wants to reset the entire universe in his image. It is so needlessly regressive in spite of all the advancements we've made over time. This is like if Cloud's model looked like this in the FF7 remake.
True.
It's just like remaking a game entirely in 3D and using it as the basis for an experimental style of gameplay. I'd say that's also a creative risk. What about remaking a game to look like a diorama that is completely dejected from the style and tone that the original was trying to convey? Surprise, surprise, but that's very much a creative risk. Sinnoh remakes going back to a chibi art style for the sake of being...
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point. When you look at the trailer for this game, and this is something I've been saying about Pokemon for a long time, is that this series, and this is part of the reason I like Gen 7, this series fucking refuses to take risks. And Legends feels like the first game that actually takes a lot of those risks, which is why I'm excited for it.
Furthermore, you got Pokemon that people had already fallen in love with that got redesigns in the form of new evolutions for the very first time, which again is such a massive creative risk. This wasn't like Gen 2 or 3 where they designed BB.
Okay, I'm going to interject here. He's making some good points. I think that's a risk. I think that's a selling point, 100%. That was like the most exciting part for me. Like the expansion of the existing universe in your mind was so fucking cool. You know what the greatest creative risk was that Game Freak ever took? It was fucking making Black and White without including any old Pokemon. That was some crazy shit. Can you imagine the boardroom meeting? Can you fucking imagine them being like, hey, you know what we're gonna do? You know how like we depend on the recognizability of our characters, and that's why we're like such a beloved series, and we sell so much merchandise with all these characters that we've established over the last like however many, like 20 years. Not that quite that long at the time. We're gonna throw all of those out and literally only keep the logo. That was insane.
And I'll always have massive respect for those that made the GTS and online battles possible in the first place. Whilst it was hardly a direct sequel, the game took elements that were introduced in Ruby and Sapphire and now made them larger than life. Hoenn had secret bases.
I will say that was one of the big parts, is the whole Wi-Fi shit. Being able to do like Wi-Fi battles on the DS was a big reason that I even got deeper into Pokemon in the first place and into like competitive and stuff.
Even with just the pictures we have right now, it's super inconsistent. Sinnoh looks way darker than it should in a lot of areas, even factoring in the day-night cycle. And the battle intro being a one-to-one recreation, blank blue screen included.
Oh, that fucking pissed me off. They literally stole the animation for some of it. That was ridiculous.
I'm sure that when people ask for a Sinnoh remake, they at least envision something far more traditional like Fire Red or Omega Ruby, which...
Man, like, I don't understand some people. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there when this game was released that, like, I could have asked them that were, like, vehemently defending this, and I could have asked them, when you imagined a Sinnoh remake, like if yesterday before this game was announced, I asked you to close your eyes and imagine a Sinnoh remake, would you have imagined this, or would you have imagined something slightly cooler? Something slightly cooler. And I feel like there's people that were defending this game that would have just lied to me about that. This guy only has like 5K subs. His videos are like super high effort. Go
listen,
subscribe. This is some insane shit. Still gonna spend $60 on it. Okay, real talk. I know I have no way to prove this to you, but genuinely, if playing Pokemon wasn't my job, I would not buy this game. Genuinely. Look at this. Someone just made that. Just some random person made this. Oh, look! Guys. It's Mount Coronet looming in the background, and it's not just a PNG. Interesting. Oh, the things that could have been. I don't know, I feel like we didn't get enough ups.